Yo, what's up guys, JDOG here, bringing you guys another video, and in today's video what I'm going to be doing is breaking down the 2021 CDL League format. Now we got a lot of news this week talking about the format, different things dealing with league matches, how the home series are going to work, how the major tournaments are going to work, things from when the events are going to be taking place to how many points you get for a win, how many points you get for a loss, how the prizing and the money is going to be paid out across not just the major tournaments throughout the season, but also the Call of Duty 2021 World Championship Tournament. And hopefully by the end of this video, I'm going to help you understand all of it. Let's get right into the video. So first off here, we're going to take a look at a official Call of Duty League website article. This was published on the 19th of January, and it just outlines all of this information. I'll link it down in the description below if you have any interest in checking it out. So the article starts talking about this Kickoff Classic, which is actually taking place this upcoming weekend on January 23rd and 24th. And basically it's just show matches to get us excited for the start of the league that's happening later in February. None of the matches actually count for anything. The teams aren't getting any prize money or CDL points. But the article does point out that in this Kickoff Classic broadcast, we are going to get two things. We're going to get the official 2021 schedule reveal, and we are also going to get the Stage 1 group selection show. So by the end of this weekend's Kickoff Classic, we will know what teams are going to be in Group A and B for this first home series hosted by Atlanta Faze on February 11th. So the article goes on talking more about this group selection show and how it's going to work as far as determining what teams are in what group. And I just kind of want to point out, back in my last video, I talked about two possibilities for how they could handle a snake style draft. The first way I said was having Dallas pick the first team to go into Faze's group, then have Faze pick the next two teams to go into Dallas's group, and then we go back to Dallas and we alternate. Basically, Dallas and Faze would be making the selections for each other's group back and forth. And that format was actually what I used to demonstrate in my previous video. But this article is saying that they're going to use the second idea that I brought up in the video. So it's a little bit more complicated, but I think I'm going to be able to illustrate it to you in a fairly simple way with these graphics. So going back to our image taken from the season explainer video that was posted this summer on the Call of Duty League YouTube channel, basically you have two groups of 6 teams, Group A and Group B. Dallas and Faze are going to be the two groups that are going to start off in Group A and B because Dallas won the Call of Duty League last year and Faze placed second. So Dallas is going to have the first pick, and then Atlanta Faze is going to have the next two. Dallas will make the first pick, Faze would then pick the next two, and then the interesting thing that they're saying in this article is that instead of having Dallas pick the next two, they're actually going to have the two teams that Atlanta Faze placed in Dallas's group make the selections. And then as you can see, the two teams that were placed in Group B now make the selections for Group A. And this continues until you have Group A and B totally filled out. So it's a little bit different of a format than how I explained it in my last video, but I kind of wanted to update that and visualize it for you so that it's easier to understand. Now this is my best guess based off interpreting the article of how this format will actually work, but who knows? It's kind of a complicated thing when you're talking about ranking teams based on their performance last year. How does that work when you're dealing with a snake style draft with only 2 teams? Are there rounds in this thing? Does it end up going back to Dallas and Atlanta Faze at some point? Who knows? This is just my best guess, but I don't think we're really going to understand it fully until we actually see the first one play out this weekend. So as far as the season format goes, when we're talking about this group selection and this pool play, this is brand new to the CDL in the 2021 season. So let me read this selection from the article. The 2021 regular season consists of 5 stages, with teams playing group play matches over the course of 3 weeks to determine their seeding for the major tournament that concludes each stage. All 12 teams will compete every week of the season at each major. Teams will compete in a double elimination bracket for high stakes prizing. So the way that they're saying this is going to work is you're going to have 3 home series that are each 1 week long that lead into a major tournament. Now all 12 teams, as shown by the 2 groups of 6, will be competing in every home series, and all 12 teams will be competing in each major tournament. This is a huge thing that the CDL changed for the 2021 season. I think this change is going to be a lot better, not just for fans of teams that had to have bye weeks, but also just from a competitive standpoint. You don't want to win a tournament where your rival isn't there or where the team that won the last tournament isn't there. It's not going to feel the same as if all teams were there and you beat everybody that you needed to accomplish that ultimate goal of winning a championship. Now, it is going to be interesting that these major tournaments are the equivalent of a bigger style home series from last year. So these group play home series are just going to be glorified league matches, and the major tournaments are going to be these double elimination brackets. So whereas last year we had, I believe, 12 home series tournaments, this year we're only going to have 5 major tournaments. And the format for these are going to be a standard double elimination style bracket that we're very familiar with in the Call of Duty esports community. Based on how those teams performed in the group play home series, they're going to be seeded into this tournament. Now, an interesting thing to point out is if you look at this bracket, based on how you perform in your group play home series matches, you can be seeded all the way up to winners round 3 or as low as losers round 1. So those group play matches are actually going to affect a lot as far as where teams are seeded and how many mistakes you can really make. If you do really well in your home series matches and you get placed all the way in winners round 3, you only need to win 3 matches to win the entire tournament. But if you do really bad and you're placed all the way in losers round 1, you're going to have a much harder time fighting your way through that losers bracket. So let's talk about CDL points. They're going to work in a similar way to how they did last year with a few minor tweaks. So when you're talking about home series league matches, you get 10 CDL points for each home series match win. If you lose, you don't get any. There's no negative penalty, but if you win, you get 10 points. But in major tournaments, you can get all the way up to 75 CDL points if you win the whole thing. So every match you win in a major tournament is that much more important. As you can see, the breakdown here, like I said, first place 75 points, second place 60, all the way down to if you just show up to the major and you're in losers round 1 and you lose that first match, you walk away with 0 CDL points for that major tournament. And just like last year, the league standings throughout the season are going to look very similar. As every team competes at these home series and these major tournaments, they're going to accumulate CDL points and they're going to be ranked accordingly with, I'm sure, tiebreakers to be announced later on. Now let's look at the prizing. So this year, there's going to be a $5 million prize pool. And the way it breaks down is there's $500,000 at stake for each major tournament. Remember, there's 5 of those, so it's going to be a total of $2.5 million. And then, of course, the league playoffs or the World Championship tournament will also have $2.5 million up for grabs. Now, if you've been following this league since last year, $5 million is actually less money that was up for grabs in total than they had last year. Last year, they had about $6 million in total prizing, with $4.6 million being the prize pool for the playoffs. And I understand when you first hear that, it sounds like there's a major decline, especially when talking about the playoffs going from $4.6 million to $2.5 million. But a lot of the reason why the prizing this year is a little bit less than it was last year actually has a lot to do with the format changes to the league. Last year, like I said, we had 12 home series tournaments. This year, we have 5 majors. And then you also have to take into account that last year was 5v5 and this year is 4v4. So especially the prizes for the playoffs are not that much different when you account for dividing by 4 players instead of dividing by 5 players. And then the article kind of just ends with a promotion for the February 11th home series opening weekend hosted by Atlanta Faze. That is going to be the first matches that actually count for CDL points and will affect seeding for the first major. Now, currently we don't know what matches are actually going to be taking place during this home series, but as I mentioned earlier, during this Kickoff Classic this upcoming weekend, we are going to get a full schedule reveal as well as that group selection show. So we should know at least who's in what group, and hopefully by the end of the weekend we may even know what matches are going to be taking place during Atlanta Faze's home series. But yeah, guys, that's it for the video. I hope I was able to make this information a little bit easier for you to understand. I tried to break it down the best as I could. One thing I do want to mention is, again, this Kickoff Classic is going to be taking place this weekend. We have our 6 matches right here, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Everybody's going to be looking forward to seeing Dallas play New York, as well as Optic play LA Thieves. In the next few days, look out for my prediction video. I'm going to be going over all 6 of these matches, breaking them down and talking about what I think the results are going to be. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Please follow my socials. My Twitter and Twitch are on the screen. And if you're interested in joining the Wolfpack Discord, the link is in the description below, as well as the articles used in this video. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.